Let's dive right into this explainer. Think about it for a second. Every single day, millions of us, you, me, everybody, we just tap, swipe, or insert our credit cards without giving it a second thought, right? I mean, in a couple of seconds, you get that little approval beep, a receipt prints out, and boom, you're done. It feels almost magical how simple it is. But what's actually happening behind that simple little tap is wild. It is literally a meticulously designed fortress of security mechanisms, all working together in absolute perfect harmony.
So you've got to wonder, what actually happens the exact second your card touches that payment terminal? In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and uncover the invisible security working silently behind every single payment you make. How does your bank actually know for a fact that your card is genuine? Like, why can't a hacker just copy your card data and go on an unlimited shopping spree? And how does the whole system stay totally secure whether you're buying a coffee down the street or at a random shop halfway across the globe?
2 seconds. That's usually all it takes. In just those 2 seconds before you see approved pop up on the screen, an entire digital ecosystem springs to life. You might think, oh, my card just sent a quick text message to my bank. But no, there is so much more going on. During that tiny window of time, multiple massive organizations are talking to each other, using heavy-duty encryption to double-check that everything is 100% legitimate before a single cent is ever authorized.
Okay, let's meet the cast of characters in this micro-journey. First up, obviously, there's you, the cardholder, and the merchant you're buying from. Then we have the merchant's bank. We call that the acquiring bank. Next in line are the giant card networks, Visa, MasterCard, RuPay, the big ones. And finally, your own bank, which is the issuing bank. Oh, and we absolutely cannot forget our uninvited guest, the attacker. Their goal is super simple. They want to clone your cards, steal your data, or mess with the transaction. But as you'll see, every single step we're about to walk through is explicitly designed to stop them right in their tracks.
To really get how this ecosystem talks, let's walk through the exact chronological flow of a purchase. Picture this. You're at an electronics store. You're buying a sweet pair of 5,000 rupee headphones. The literal millisecond you tap that terminal, we kick off step 1, reading the card. From there, the system builds the request, then it approves the card's authenticity, and finally, your bank actually makes a decision. We're going to break down exactly what goes down at each one of these crucial stages.
Now this right here is where a massive security upgrade happened. We're talking about the huge jump from those old static magnetic stripes to the dynamic, fresh, cryptographic proof that modern EMV chips generate. See, when you tap or insert your card today, the terminal isn't just reading a dumb file. A copied magnetic stripe? Yeah, a thief can easily reuse that because the data literally never changes. But an EMV chip? No way. That cannot simply be duplicated.
The really crucial takeaway here is that the little gold chip on your card isn't just a static piece of metal. It's actually a tiny, highly secure computer. Its whole job is to prove your card is totally authentic. So instead of just shouting out the exact same fixed password every time you use it, the EMV chip actively performs complex math, cryptographic operations. The absolute most valuable secrets hidden inside that chip are designed so they can't be read or copied during normal use. The secret itself, it never ever leaves the hardware. The chip only shares the mathematical proof.
Think of cloning an old card like photocopying a passport. Sure, the copy might look identical to the naked eye, but it completely lacks the dynamic, physical security features that prove it's the real deal. During a transaction, your EMV chip acts kind of like a digital fingerprint generator, creating totally unique, cryptographic data for that specific moment in time. This means if an attacker somehow captures the data from one transaction, they can't just replay it tomorrow to buy something else. Every single transaction is totally unique. And honestly, this is one of the biggest, most vital game changers EMV technology brought to the table. All right, so after proving the card is authentic, the terminal gathers up some specific details to build the actual payment request. It grabs the 5,000 rupee transaction amount, the merchant's details, the exact timestamp, the terminal ID, and the required card info. But here's the thing you have to remember. The terminal itself does not make the final call to approve your sale. It literally has no authority to do that. It's just a secure messenger. It packages all this info up and forwards the request into the banking network. The final decision? That always comes from your issuing bank.
And then, in a fraction of a second, this crazy secure network journey kicks off. Boom! 0.0 seconds, it leaves the merchant terminal. By 0.5 seconds, it hits the acquiring bank. 1 second in, it's zipping through the massive card network, and by 1.5 seconds, it reaches your issuing bank.
And throughout this entire high-speed trip across the globe, advanced cryptographic mechanisms ensure your sensitive financial data never, ever travels as plain readable text. Secure communication means that even if attackers are wiretapping the network, they absolutely cannot read or modify your payment info while it's in transit.
So, right before sending an answer back, your issuing bank acts as the ultimate gatekeeper. Right at that 1.5-second mark, your bank is basically running a rapid-fire interrogation. Is this card actually valid? Is there enough credit? Has it been reported stolen? But it's way more than just hard rules. The bank is combining predefined security checks with some seriously intelligent risk analysis. They're constantly monitoring behavior to catch things like sudden geographical jumps. If you buy a coffee in your hometown and then 10 minutes later your card tries to buy a TV in another country, the system is going to flag that instantly.
If everything checks out and looks totally legitimate, the issuing bank fires back an authorization response, and the terminal finally flashes that satisfying payment approved message. But here's a kind of fascinating detail. The transaction has only been authorized through this network. The actual physical movement of the money, that settles entirely behind the scenes hours or days later. That approval on the screen is essentially just an ironclad, cryptographically secured promise between the banks. And this whole intense process happened before you even had time to pick up your shopping bag.
Okay, so this brings up a really good question. If the cryptography is so ridiculously secure, where do attackers actually focus their energy? Because as we've just seen, they can't just duplicate the EMV chip, they can't hack the secure banking communication, and they definitely cannot forge the cryptographic proof. The math is just way too strong. So if the front door is locked like a bank vault, how are criminals still stealing payment info today? Well, instead of fighting the math, attackers target the weakest link, the human element. They rely on setting up fake payment terminals, building phishing websites, pulling off card-not-present fraud, and using classic social engineering attacks. They're going after stolen card info from poorly secured online stores, or tricking people into downloading malware. Why? Because tricking a human into handing over their details is just much, much easier than trying to crack EMV cryptography.
And that perfectly sets us up to debunk a massive myth right now. Your chip does not hand out your secrets, it fiercely protects them. There's this huge misconception out there that if you tap your card near some shady scanner in a crowd, a thief can just wirelessly download your entire banking profile. That is absolutely not reality. The chip performs all its cryptographic magic internally. It generates fresh data every single time. This layered, incredibly smart security approach is exactly why modern electronic payments are so reliable, even when processing literally billions of transactions a year.
I want to leave you with this final, empowering thought. The banking ecosystem has built an impenetrable cryptographic shield. You have this entire invisible network of secure hardware, banking systems, and complex mathematical verifications working relentlessly behind the scenes for you. But keeping your finances truly safe ultimately relies on you and where you choose to share your information. The cryptography is doing its job perfectly. The real question is, are you being just as vigilant when you're shopping on a random website or clicking a link in a weird email? Think about that the next time you tap your card. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and definitely keep asking the big questions about the invisible tech we rely on every single day.